Welcome to Cozy Cajun Recipes ASMR. If you enjoy these recipes and would like to like, share, and follow, please feel free to do so. And no need for writing things down. This is going to be here just to relax you. Recipes will be posted at the end of this video and in the description. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This evening, we are going to be making a classic Cajun and Creole dish that is renowned the world over, but only in Louisiana does it taste just right. And that is our Cajun Gumbo. Tonight we're going to be making it with chicken and sausage. So here we go. You're going to need 2 pounds of chicken. It can be white meat or dark meat. If you're going to be using a whole chicken, make sure to debone it, but save them bones because you can use that to make a stock later. Then you're going to need 1 pound of Cajun sausage. Cut that into 1-inch pieces. Now for the Cajun sausage, we do recommend something more like a smoked sausage, not anything like boudin, because that can be a little bit too heavy for this gumbo. Then you're going to need the Holy Trinity, which is 2 large onions, chopped. Now with the onions, you only need a little bit goes a long way, but 2 cups. If you like them onions, load them up in there, honey, and they can be white onions or yellow Vidalia onions, either one. Doesn't matter what you got on hand, just use what you got. Then you're going to need the second part of the Holy Trinity, 2 stalks of celery chopped. You can also use the leaves in this as well, so use the whole stalk of celery. Don't let nothing go to waste. And then the third part of this wonderful trinity, bell peppers. You're going to need 2 green bell peppers and make sure those are chopped. You can use red or orange or yellow, it don't matter. As long as you got those bell peppers in there, it's going to be good. Then you're going to need 1/4 okra. Now with the okra, you can use fresh or you can use frozen. If you use fresh okra, you're going to put it in with the vegetables when we saute it at the very beginning. If you're going to use it as frozen okra, you're going to put that in at the very end. Then we're going to need 6 large tomatoes or 2 cans of tomatoes chopped. Now I grew up in Louisiana. My papa had a real big tomato garden, so every year I would help him pick tomatoes and then help my meemaw in the kitchen almost all summer canning those tomatoes. So we'd have tomatoes for all year. But my papa also sold tomatoes too for people, and he would sell it just so he could get some extra ice cream. He did love that black walnut ice cream. That was his favorite. And always to give me a little extra spending money when I was a kid. He was always so wonderful like that. Next, we're going to need 2 tablespoons of roux. Now, with the roux, you can actually make your own, or if you don't have time to make your own, you can buy it. It's all right. I won't tell. As long as you don't tell nobody or show anybody the jar of roux you got, you can use store-bought. It's all right. Now, if you're going to make your own roux, it's easy. All you need is butter and flour. That's all roux is. So you'll cook down that butter, and you'll add the flour, and you're basically just cooking out the flour flavor out of there. And then it's going to turn a medium to dark brown, and that's when your roux is ready. Now, if you don't want to make a roux or can't get any roux, you can also use filet powder. Now, filet powder, you use about 2 big heaping tablespoons. Filet powder can also be used to thicken pretty much any kind of stew, any kind of gumbo, anything like that. The Huma Indians used to use that to thicken their stews. It comes from a plant. They would grind it up into a fine powder, and that's what they were using there. So when the French and the Spanish came and occupied the territories of Louisiana, they brought their cooking techniques with them, and the Huma Indians had theirs, and we had a whole new type of food for Louisiana. That is why it's so unique to that region. Next, we're going to need cayenne pepper or any type of Creole seasoning. Now, most of the time it does call for 1 teaspoon, but that's on a little bit of the lighter side. If you prefer something that has a little more bite and a little more kick to it, You can add a lot more than that if you'd like. Now, next thing is a tablespoon of salt. Now, for this one, we already have the pound of sausage, which is salty on its own. So if you want to cut that down to half a tablespoon or a teaspoon of salt, you are more than welcome to. It's just a matter of taste. Then we're going to need 2 or 3 little shots of Tabasco sauce to give it a little extra kick, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and then you're going to need 1 cup of green onions chopped. Now with the green onions, you can use the whole thing. You can use the white parts and the green parts, and I recommend both. Then you're going to need a half cup of parsley. You're going to chop that up too. Now with those are going to be used more for garnish and a little bit of extra flavor on top. If you don't want to use parsley, you don't have to. If you don't want to use the green onion, you don't have to, honey. It's your gumbo. You make it how you like it. Now, you're going to get your big old gumbo pot. I have a big, heavy cast iron one that's been passed down through my family about 4 generations. It is seasoned very, very well, and that's the pot my meemaw cooked all her gumbo in, and that's the pot my mama cooked all her gumbo in, and that's the pot that I cooked mine in. So I got a big old cast iron, heavy, heavy, heavy pot. It could also be used as a Dutch oven, whichever you want to do. You're going to take your meat and take whatever kind of fat you have on hand. So if you have some bacon fat or canola oil or butter or anything like that, because you're just going to sear off and brown up that chicken and sausage in there till you get all the good crumbly bits at the bottom. Then you're going to take that out, throw all your vegetables except for your green onions and parsley, throw all of them, and not the tomatoes yet, in there so they can brown up and get all those yummy bits off the bottom. Now, you want to let that cook down, but you don't want to let those onions cook down too much so they get too soft, because they're going to go straight back into that gumbo when we add our quarts of chicken stock. Okay? So you're going to pull those out, let those cook down about 5 minutes or so, and then add your 6 large tomatoes all chopped up and everything. Now throw those in there, let those cook about 10 minutes, and then you're going to add 4 quarts of chicken stock. Now this is where those chicken bones come into play. So if you've already kept your chicken bones and leftover pieces of vegetable and everything like that, made your own stock, you can use that. You can also use store-bought. It's totally fine. Some people just don't have the time to make their own stock. But I grew up in Louisiana. You use every bit of everything you got. We never let anything go to waste. Now, you are going to go and let that cook down, and then we're going to add the filet, or you're going to add your roux, or you can add a little bit of both if you want both. And this is when I also I throw in all my vegetables, and then throw in all my meat, and toss it in there and let it cook down for a few minutes, and then I taste that gumbo to see if it needs a little more seasoning, because with me, I like it a little spicy, honey. But for other people, they like it a little more mild. But like I said, you season it to taste, but you definitely want to season that gumbo. It ain't just any regular stew, it's gumbo. You make sure it's got seasoning, honey. So then, once everything's in the pot, you let it come up to a little quick boil. And then once that boil is on, turn the heat down, put the lid on, and you let that sit. Some people like a quick gumbo, let it sit for about an hour and cook. For me, I prefer doing it 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 4, depending on my day. And in that time, I also go and make some rice for my gumbo, because you always have to have rice with gumbo. It's just how it is. And sometimes also, I remember my meemaw, when she would be making gumbo, my papa would get out the big frying pot and would make some real good deep fried hush puppies. Oh, they were just heaven, 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 heaven. Now, once your gumbo is completely done, you want to let it sit for a few minutes off the heat so it can thicken up a little bit more. I usually let mine sit for about 30 minutes or so before I want to eat it. Then you're going to get a big old scoop out of there, big old cup. Make sure you get all the vegetables and all the meat and a lot of that broth out of there. Pour it in a bowl and then take an ice cream scoop. Yes, I did say ice cream scoop. And you're going to get a big old scoop of that rice that you made and plop it right in the middle of that bowl of gumbo. You're going to put the rice on top so all that good gumbo bits soak into the rice at the bottom. That is how you properly serve gumbo. Gumbo does not go on top of the rice. It goes underneath, and the rice soaks up all that goodness. And this is where you can put on your green onions and your parsley for garnish. And it's delicious. I remember sitting back and watching my Meemaw cook in the kitchen. Well, of course, I was chopping something because you can't be in her kitchen without doing something. And watching my papa cook or be out in the garden with him or help him can food. It was some of my happiest memories as a child, but I hope you enjoyed this Creole, Cajun, whatever you want to call it, gumbo. It's chicken and sausage. It's delicious. It's warm. It's comforting. And I'm going to post the recipes right here at the end of this video for the gumbo and for the hush puppies. Hush puppies are not hard. It's just basically scooping up the hush puppy mix and plopping it in the oil, in the hot oil, and that's it. That's pretty much all you got, honey. But I hope you enjoyed this, and please don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe